Dan True, my rank before I was discharged as a first sergeant, but I spent most of my time as a tech sergeant. Job title, soldier. That's about, I did so many things in the military. I was infantry, I was a radio operator in the infantry, a code operator, and then I was an aviation cadet, and then I was back in the infantry again, and then I was a teletype mechanic. And here I am, 91, and I'm not on any prescriptions whatsoever, and it isn't an ego thing. I don't need any prescriptions. When they take my blood pressure, they look at me and they say, wow, it's like a teenager. But I ride my bicycle 5 miles round trip to lunch, 5 days a week. Every day on the weekend, when I don't ride to lunch, I ride around here for my 5 miles. So it's a 7-day-a-week affair. Okay, the future that I had when I got out of military service, how it shaped that future, rather than just this future from this instant moment. From that future, it really shaped my life. I basically came of age. I was what I consider to be a child soldier. I graduated high school Friday night and was drafted Saturday morning. And so I really grew up in that 2 years, 9 months in the military. And it gave me that philosophy that if it isn't a matter of life or death, don't sweat it too much. That shaped my future. Teletype repair was, I was a member of what today would be considered as the geek squad. In that era, it was the geek squad. We were highly trained technicians, radar repair, instrument repair, radio repair, teletype repair, and we served, just 135 of us geeks served an entire army. But coming out of that, I got basics of electricity, basics of shop work, welding, which I've used all my life. All of these things I use all of my life. I have created remotely fired cameras that are really ingenious, and I don't think I could have ever done it had I not had the basic teletype repair of working with small things and working with relays and understanding solenoids and understanding these things so that I could put a remote firing device on a video camera and fire it from as much as a mile away. So it's just been a huge impact on my life, yeah. We manufacture it and the hummingbirds build a nest on it. How about that, huh? I guess we welded up everything. There's some of the parts, but we've welded them all up. But this is a big deal for us. We spend, sometimes we had an order for 1,200 from a bird supply house. We had to weld 1,200 of them and box them and get them out and gone. It was a real job. I'm doing Roadrunner documentary at this moment. But I do eagles. I'm not doing eagles right now because the drought took the rabbits and the eagles disappeared. When they come back, I'll go back to doing filming and a documentary on eagles. The documentary on the Roadrunner is pretty well occupying my life, but I've got a couple of more books in my head that I want to write. So it's writing and filming pretty much. The fondest memory I have is the day I grew up. I was probably 19 in France. I'd just gotten off the boat and we were in a staging area. And we had a field kitchen. We were living in tents waiting to move up, waiting for transportation to move forward. It was Le Havre, France. And when I realized that this little 8-year-old girl who begged for my garbage when it came to the dump your garbage and clean your mess kit. The first day that I saw her, it was very cold, bitterly cold. She was in a print dress, no socks on her shoes. And the first time she showed up, she had this gallon can that she probably got from back of the mess hall in the trash pile somewhere. It had a wire bale on it. And she held it up. I didn't have much garbage, and I thought to myself, I don't have enough to feed your dog. Some of the guys behind me probably will have enough. So I just dumped my little bit in the garbage can. She was there the next day. And when I realized that she didn't want my garbage for dog food, that's a spoiled brat American attitude of what garbage is for. She wanted my garbage to take home and feed her parents. Her eyes were big, and I didn't know at the time that when you're a little malnourished, your eyes get big. When that hit me, that's when I grew up. It hit me so hard that I couldn't eat. I had to get off by myself and cry and realize how naive I was really about the world, and that, boy, I'm getting a quick education on what the world is about, and it's not about life in America. And that was a real moment for me. And for all of my life, I have felt that I didn't do enough. I guess because I felt I should have I had infantry basic, and I guess I felt I should have gone with the 78th Division and gone over and gotten shot at, and that would have been a better contribution than teletype repair. But I've come to terms with it just fairly recently, and it's this. The enemy can hear radio broadcasts, our radio, so you don't talk important stuff on radio. They can tap telephone lines, so you don't talk important stuff by telephone. Teletype, can't tap that. And when I was watching a military program, and I saw Eisenhower rip a teletype, rip a message off a teletype machine, and it occurred to me that, hey, the important communication through World War II was done by teletype. And I thought to myself, I probably repaired that machine. So I have come to terms with the fact that, yes, I did contribute a great deal. What was unique about my career is that, first of all, most people in World War II who served overseas either served in Europe against Hitler or in the Pacific against Japan. I served both. One of the very, very, very few who got both of them. They put me on the first boatload that went directly from, I boarded at Marseille, France, and you would think that Mrs. True's second son, 19 years old, would be entitled to a furlough between wars, right? I mean, you know, from World War, hey, come on, furlough between wars? Why not? Through the Canal Zone, straight to the Philippines, not through the US of A with a furlough, and then on to the Philippines. So that was a unique experience. I'm one of the very, very, very few World War II veterans that served both theaters. And I have interacted with German POWs, with Italian POWs, and Japanese POWs. The German POWs, most of them, about 80–90% of them, were pretty happy. They were glad their war was over, and they were pretty content with it. The Italian POWs were lovers. we used them as labor. That's how I acted with them. And you could let them out in the daytime, and you knew they'd come back at night. They don't want anything to do with the war. They just toured France and came back to sleep and eat again. The Japanese POWs would, boy, they were not happy campers. They did not like the idea of being a POW at all. In fact, now that I think of it, and it's the first time I've thought of it, I don't think I was ever used Japanese as labor. They were just so that you couldn't bring them out and let them do labor. Couldn't trust them. How the military impacted my life for the rest of my life with this philosophy. If things that come up into my life, if they're not a matter of life or death, I don't get very excited. It takes a life or death situation to get me very excited. Everything else is just blah. And it's been a good protector for me, I think, because I just don't get upset with little stuff.